So Scott Kennedy, okay, as a documentary filmmaker, I think generally documentarians lean left, politically left. Would you agree with that? You think about it?
For the most part.
Yeah, for the most part.
Are we seriously about to start talking politics on Star Talk about GMOs?
And he makes a film that is not anti-GMO. So this is kind of, whoa, what's he thinking?
No, Neil deGrasse Tyson. That is a bad astrophysicist. Bad.
Well, yeah. Well, whenever if you are a left-leaning documentarian who puts out a work that is not critical of GMOs, then people are like, another one's been bought.
Right, exactly.
Well, Monsanto got to him too.
Well, that was not anti-Monsanto. You want to know why somebody might say, oh, Monsanto bought another one. Monsanto got to him. Monsanto sued farmers that didn't want to use their seed because they supposedly found some of their crops growing on their land. They found Monsanto crops on someone's farm that said, I don't want to use Monsanto seed. Somehow the seeds got there. The farmers say, if anything, they just blew there because, that's how seeds work. And Monsanto sued them and took their whole farm. Everything. More or less. So yeah, Monsanto bought another one. Monsanto got to them. Monsanto once put out a pro-corn syrup commercial stating that corn syrup is perfectly fine because it comes from corn. Yeah, heroin comes from poppy seeds. Cocaine comes from a leaf from a tree.
So I had to ask him. So I interviewed him just for this purpose, and so I had to ask him what was he thinking, as someone who generally leans left in his politics.
Ask yourself, why is Neil deGrasse Tyson making it a point multiple times to point out this person's political affiliation? Just ask yourself that.
In his thinking, and definitely as a documentarian. So let's check out what he said.
We wanted to make a film. There's so many reasons why we wanted to make this film. One of the biggest ones was relieving anxiety. Right?
Shouldn't you be making a documentary for truth? That's why propaganda films are made. To relieve anxiety.
I've seen so many of my friends, so many of my neighbors, so many parents and mothers that have their shoulders like this. I know you can't see me on radio, but they have their shoulders up in their ears about food and where are they getting their information from, and they're freaked out.
What's wrong with that? If it's something that should freak you out, you should be freaked out. I'm kind of freaked out about the concept of a lake of animal feces and urine right behind all of our food production.
So it's anxiety.
Anxiety, yeah. And should we have that anxiety, right? That's the first question.
Anxiety about food.
Should we have anxiety about food?
All right. Who is the we that you're referring to? Are you referring to yourself and all your wife's soccer mom friends? Or are you referring to people in other countries that actually are starving to death? But honestly, it's seeming like you're living in a little bubble.
Right? And when we kept doing the research, the overall science and data said we could not be living in a safer time for our food, more abundant food, more nutritious food available to more people than we are living in right now.
Okay, you're definitely talking about you and your wife's soccer mom friends. That's right, because we've studied every place and time in human history, every single one, and have determined that this is the absolute best out of every single one ever.
And that's not being communicated by some of the smartest people that...
So I suppose you're one of the smartest people then. Well, continue then, sir.
...have the ear of, especially in a country like the United States, have the ear of the media.
Ear of the media sounds like an Illuminati symbol.
There's fear all over the place. Chemicals and pesticides and all of these things. Are some of those things in the food system? Absolutely, but risk assessment.
Continue.
So that was one of the biggest motivations. Can we make a film that talks about food and science and safety and sustainability?
That is also not anti-Monsanto. It's not going to be easy.
Looking towards 9 billion people screaming at us by 2050.
times 9 billion. I'm sorry, I thought you were trying to relieve stress.
Are we going to make our food system more sustainable and do it in a way that doesn't just give a hall pass to big food and big government and these other vague terms that
I believe those vague terms are Monsanto and ConAgra.
that are out there that have data that exists to say we need to be concerned about those things? Big profits and big greed can lead to problems.
No, we can conclusively say that big profit and big greed have led to very big problems in the world that we're currently living in right now.
Does that mean the world is upside down and I shouldn't trust anybody and I shouldn't trust food and I shouldn't trust my government? No, that's what we found.
I see. So your whole purpose is to restore people's trust in government. Well, fuck you. You are a shill, sir.
Yeah, so Pamela, what's our evidence that a genetically modified food stuff is safe? Because that's been a big issue out there, a big concern.
And can we genetically modify food to lower anxiety?
So that was subtle. You noticed earlier Pamela talking about cheese, medicine, and crops, right? Well, the fact that she stuck medicine right in between those is not an accident. Agriculture, dairy, medicine, right? So what they're trying to sneak in there is actually making a food that has medicine in it. You get an apple that has a vaccine in it. Like, when she was talking about viruses earlier, well, viruses are what make a vaccine a vaccine. Everything else is the agent carrying the vaccine. What makes a measles vaccine, for example, a vaccine is that it's a very low dose of measles. I'm not going down the rabbit hole of vaccine conspiracy theories. I'm just interpreting the information that they're giving me. It just so happens that the person carrying across this information looks like he's about to approach you at a 7-Eleven and ask you for change for a sandwich, is all.
Kill two birds with one stone on that one.
Hey man, while we're at it, why don't we get to it, right?
Yeah.
Clean
Yeah.
it all up.
Yeah.
Well, every crop must be looked at on a case-by-case basis, whether it's genetically engineered or developed through mutagenesis.
Look, Pamela, you may not know how to use Google, but I do. I looked up mutagenesis, and it is not anywhere close to the same thing as genetic engineering. Genetic engineering, as you said, one sentence of all the bullshit that you've been saying is that you're taking a gene from another species, animal or virus or whatever the fuck, and you're putting it into a plant, a fruit, and you're putting it on the shelves for us, calling it an apple, and it's not a fucking apple. It's an apple with a lizard gene in it, or whatever the fuck. We don't even know because you're not even telling us. That's not mutagenesis at all. And the fact that you keep putting them together really pisses me off.
But what we do know is that every major scientific organization in the world, including the National Academy of Sciences, the European Food Safety Authority.
Wait, what? Didn't you say this already? Like, word for word?
And many other organizations have concluded that the process of genetic engineering is no more risky than conventional breeding.
You gotta be shitting me, dude. This is the exact same clip. Even the same typo is there. Then conventional breeding, there's no space. I'm done. All right, that's it. It's over. I made it halfway through. We're done here. I'm sorry. Let's give her one more chance.
And in fact, genetic engineering has been used for 40 years. It's been used in cheeses, in medicine, and in crops. And there hasn't been a single case of harm to human health or the environment.
Already heard that load of steaming pile of bullshit. What else have you got to say?
And I think it's important to remember that these are the same organizations that most of us trust when it comes to the safety of vaccines or the effects of a changing climate.
Exactly. That's the fucking problem. It's these same organizations that have had us in Iraq for the past 15 years, etc., etc., etc. Nobody fucking trusts them. Nobody can fully trust that they have everybody's good intentions at heart. They have agendas that we don't know about. But sometimes, many decades later, we learn about those. Like, for example, the Gulf of Tonkin. Now, I know you don't like to use Google, Pamela, but I'm really imploring you. Just go ahead and Google Gulf of Tonkin. Go ahead and look that up. Go ahead and look up Remember the Maine. Go ahead and look that up. Those were things that we found out about decades later that would have been utterly preposterous at the time. But they really happened. Go ahead and look that up, please. Pamela, I'm going to find your Twitter account, and I'm going to send you this video, and I hope that you look these things up, and we can have a conversation about them. I meant it earlier when I said I'd like to sit down with you for like 45 minutes. I would really like that. I'll be a nice guy. I'm a nice guy. This is just for giggles, you know. It's a YouTube video, got to be funny, but I would really love to have a chat with you, Pamela. Oh, and by the way, did you catch that she said that the same people that are doing all of this genetic engineering are also responsible for our vaccines? So, when you see the measles vaccine apple on the shelves at your local grocery store, remember where you heard it first.
Oh, well, in that case, you're screwed.
Right here, I just wish that Neil deGrasse Tyson wouldn't laugh and would just look at him. You know what? Let's see what that would look like.
Oh, well, in that case, you're screwed.
Damn, nigga, that was some real shit. What, you trying to be George Carlin or something?
Well, you can see it's very politicized.
Okay, so I really am done with this video. I'm just gonna wrap it up here. It keeps going. It's fucking ridiculous. It keeps just more absurdity that, Oscar-nominated documentary filmmaker that leans politically left comes back and has ridiculous shit to say. I don't want to ruin it for you. You should go watch it. But in conclusion, I just want to say that this is a propaganda video. I mean, if you think it isn't, then it worked. The sheer number of just not factually inaccurate things, but actually, complete opposite of the facts. That things that they're saying over and over, and how they're trying to relieve anxiety, and how they're trying to rebuild trust in the powers that be, because the trust is fucking shattered. Because in the internet age, it's harder to hide things. It really is, So, honestly, I definitely think that she is a shill, Pamela. I think that Oscar-nominated Robert Kennedy is a shill. And because you've got Neil deGrasse Tyson, your personal astrophysicist, hosting this whole fucking thing, he's a fucking shill too. I don't know what the grand scheme of this is, but I know a fucking propaganda film when I see one. And Chuck Nice, you're a fucking shill too. All these little jokes that you're making here and there, it's actually presenting the other side of the argument that you're going against, and then everyone's laughing about it like it's a fucking joke. Oh, you just want grant money. Fuck yeah, these people want grant money. Oh, well, you're screwed then. Fuck yeah, we're screwed if we don't do something. In the meantime, if you see Neil deGrasse Tyson, tell him to subscribe.